Hey there, and welcome back to this book study on The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haupt. I hope you're enjoying the first few chapters of the book. This video is really in response to the first chapter of this book. As I began reading this book, my goal in reading it was to kind of get ahead on this topic of technology. How can I best understand it? And really so I can help my own child through this reality of the digital world and her digital life. My daughter's only 8 years old, third grade, but I can already see how the power of technology is impacting her own life. Free play is so important for her, and I know how important it is for her in her development. And yet constantly she wants to watch shows, she wants to play games on an iPad, watch videos on a phone. And well, I get what Jonathan means in the book when he says most parents experience feelings of being trapped or powerless when it comes to technology and phones, social media, and sort of the digital age. Throughout this study, I'm going to be recommending some different resources. And one of those is a free download. It's completely free. You just Google it. It's the title of it is 5 Strategies for Parents to Free the Anxious Generation. All right. And again, it's a free download right online, and it's a clinical psychologist, #1 New York Times bestselling author, and the founder, CEO of a parenting company called Good Inside, Dr. Becky Kennedy. And she created this great resource. And again, I would highly recommend getting your hands on it. And in the study guide here, there's a section where she speaks into the antidote for the anxiety that we feel as parents. I would say for me as a parent, the anxiety I feel usually propels me to want to find more knowledge and kind of take action in saying, I need to get to know this. I need to get deeper into this. And I get deep into the topic. I listen to others, and then making some practical changes to the boundaries, to the rules, to expectations sort of within our home. And the phrase that Jonathan uses all the time is that we are underprotecting our kids online, overprotecting our kids in the real world. In other words, our kids need more protection online, and our kids need more freedom in the real world. You know, in just one quote, my own parenting was challenged and shifted when I think about what is best for my own daughter and what she really needs in life. You know, the more that I study this, the more I'm realizing she really doesn't need much of screens at all. So why do I allow her to have screens? Well, if I'm being honest, frankly, it makes parenting easier. You know, when my energy level is low, or we just need a break, or to kind of control their mood or distract them, we often turn to screens for that reason. Now you couple that with also the desire I have that my daughter is safe, that she's comfortable, that she's looked after all the time. And I realized how my own parenting was very much the parenting that was being really spoken into through this book. And that's something I need to own. And it was humbling to kind of realize that. And so, you know, I mentioned my parenting sort of changed, or it's been challenged. How so? Maybe you're wondering. Well, I'm working really hard on allowing my daughter to have more adventures with unsupervised play, and teaching her how to assess the risk and to make smart choices, but also encouraging her to take risks and to try stuff, right? I'm also more keenly aware of my own phone habits and screen habits and teaching her what is most important in life. This is humbling, maybe even a little bit embarrassing to think that my daughter has had to compete with my phone for attention from her daddy. This book was written to shed light on mainly what happened in the between the years of 2010 and 2015 that sent reported cases of anxiety, depression, self-harm, and suicide just going up at a really high clip. And the problem is not the teens. It's easy to want to point to like a younger group and be like, oh, those people in their phones. But the problem is not the teens. The problem is the fact that parents allowed and even led their children into a low protected digital reality while overprotecting their physical reality. So this is a hard thing to start this book out with, but really the first step to change is owning the part we have played in the process. And by we, I mean parents, mentors, teachers, and those who have like guided the kids up to this point. When we as parents and mentors take a good, hard, long look in the mirror, we need to ask ourselves the hard questions and then allow that change to spill over into the way we lead and the guide and parent and mentor others through their own digital age. You know, the number one health epidemic that's just going throughout, not just the United States, but globally, especially in first world nations. It's not anxiety. It's not depression. Those are tough. Not obesity, not opioids. But I think it's the thing that leads a lot of people to those other forms of feelings or addictions. It's loneliness. Jonathan Houdt says on page 38 that people get depressed when they feel isolated, lonely, or useless. And the more connected we have become digitally, the lonelier most people feel, especially because we've traded out the physical, real world childhood that maybe many of us can think back on. And a lot of adults have traded out a physical, real world connections for a digital, phone-based reality. And unfortunately, between 2010 and 2015, many kids had their physical, real world childhood substituted for a digital childhood. And they're paying the price for that in how they're growing up. Now, I'll be honest, the first chapter for me was a complete gut punch, right? I was just going into this book to kind of get information, a little bit of research, not to have this book turn on me and sort of hit me between the eyes. This chapter, right off the bat, put a lot of things into alignment for me. And much of what I was looking at, it doesn't seem like great news, right? And this reality of being forever elsewhere and the effects cell phones and social media are having on us as human beings, it is staggering. Now, I do pray, though, this information would propel you to keep going in this book, keep learning, keep listening, and then you will get empowered through the book for making strategic moves in your own lives and in the lives of your family and the kids who are in your care. So I hope chapter 1 was good, and we'll see you for a review of chapter 2.